Yo, welcome to another episode of Bringing the Business. Your host, or half of your host, BC Nick, not in the house with me tonight, but I got a special guest in here. And I'm gonna say a special guest because this is a friend of mine, but it's also a person that has I'm gonna say it's unfortunate, but it's a unique story, and I think that it needs to be told, and and she needs to be heard. So I want to welcome Sarah to the show. How you doing, Sarah?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thanks for coming on. All right,
Mhm.
so Sarah, I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna let you tell your story. So I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Okay, cool. All right. So tomorrow will be 9 years. My son, his two friends were murdered March 12th, 2017. And basically he went out March 11th, didn't know where he was at, didn't know where he was going. He just said he'll be back and he never returned home. Last thing I remember is his face looking at me when he was walking out the door, just saying, "Hey, I'll be back." I'm like, "All right, cool." He looked at his dad and spoke to his dad, and everybody smiled. But looking back and thinking back to that day, I feel like I think he knew, or I think he felt inside like his time was coming to an end because the way he stood at the door and just like looked over and smiled. Who really looks and smile like that before they walk out the door, you know? So basically, March 12th came, and that
How
morning
old? How old was he?
he was 19.
19.
His name was Bojel Anderson Jr., but we called him Stormy.
Say his name
Um,
again.
Bojel Anderson Jr.,
Okay.
but we called him Stormy. That was the only name he really went by. When he graduated from high school, that was the name that went across the board when they announced their names. You know, Stormy. He loved that name, and so when he left out. He told his brothers he'd be back, whatever. You know, I wasn't aware that no one could locate him or find him until the next day. But basically, that day he told his brothers he'd be back. He about to make a run with two of his friends, and so I guess they went and did whatever they went to make a run. You know, wherever they went. Still don't know to this day. I don't know where he was going. And so the next morning, well, that night, I texted him about 6 or 7 o'clock, and I told him, I said, "I'm making tacos tonight." He was like, "All right, cool, bet. You know, I can't wait." So I texted him again about 10:30 that night, asking, "Where are you?" He didn't say anything, but I'm thinking he was with his girlfriend, you know, how younger guys are and everything. So the next morning, I got a text from his girlfriend at the time, Kiana, and she was just like, "Hey, Ma, I haven't seen Stormy all night. Can't reach him. Have you seen him?" And it, like, instantly, my mom antennas went on. I'm like, "What do you mean you can't find him?" And so I hit his brothers up. I was like, "Hey, where's your brother at?" You know, and it was like, "Man, we didn't want to tell you, but we've been looking for him. We can't find him." So I started calling like the police departments, hospitals, and everything. No luck, no luck, or whatever. So I'm sitting upstairs. Thank you. I was sitting upstairs and looking at Facebook and everything. And then I seen a post from Chicago Tribune basically saying 3 bodies found in a car, 86 and and my heart hit the floor. I was like, fuck. And I'm like, 3 bodies, and they're looking for 3 people because my son was like, my boys was like, "Mama, we can't find him or the other 2 boys." I don't want
86
to
and
really
what?
mention their name. 86 and Troop.
Okay.
Yeah. So they was like, "We haven't been able to locate none of them." So when I saw that post on Facebook, I was like, "Shit, you know, damn, I hope this ain't my kid." So as I'm looking at that, my youngest son, you know, came to the stairs. He's like, "Hey, Mom, we need to leave." And I was just like, "Yeah, you saw Facebook?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, let's go." So we going down 87th Street, you know, and I don't know. I felt that my heart, I felt that he was gone. I felt like he was hurt because one thing about him, he was a mama's boy, and he would have contacted me by, you know, by the next day, told me something, and I didn't hear anything from him. So we're going down 87. I look at my youngest son. I'm like, "Hey," I said, "I'm gonna just tell you this." I said, "We need to brace ourselves for the worst." I said, "Because I don't feel like he hit with us no more." He just
So
broke
was
down.
that an area? Was that an area you known him to frequent?
No, we were from 82nd and Lawndale over near 82nd and Pulaski. That's where we lived at the time. So 82nd and Troop, I mean 86 and Troop We never lived over there. We didn't have relatives over there. Nothing. He did go to high school over there though. He went to Ralph Ellison, which is on 80th and like Walcott or something, like 80th and like Walcott. So he went to high school over there, but he had been out of high school over a year already. He didn't really hang over there with no friends or anything. So I'm not even sure what did he have to do over there. So we go on, we get there. First person I see, Father Flaker. He just had like a look in his face, like he was just sick, like he was just like, and I was just looking at him. I'm like, shit, the look on his face looks like, he just got the word that everybody's dead. You're just preparing yourself for the worst. So then I look over and I saw a so-called friend of Stormy's, and he was the first one on the scene. And I'm just looking like, how is he out here? I'm like, how you get out here? He's like, oh, my grandma lived down the street, and I heard it on a police scanner, and I just walked down here, and I'm just thinking in my head like, what who does that? Like, it's just weird. Who does that? So he was standing like in the cut like near another building or whatever. And so we talking to the detective, and I asked him, I say, I think one of them in the car is my son. And he was just like asking me to describe my kid. And he was like, yeah, he's the one in the front seat. And I was just like, and it was like, and like this part right here is the part that cringes me sometimes. I was just like preparing myself for them to say, no, he's not. I said, is he dead? He said, yes, everyone is dead. And I just like lost my shit. I just took off. I remember running down the alley of Troop, just took off running and just screaming because I couldn't get myself together. And I was just like, I know you didn't go off and do this. I know you didn't go off and get yourself killed. And I was like talking to him, even though he wasn't there. And my youngest son running behind me like, Mom, you got to come back. You got to come back. They want to talk to you. And I was just like, I couldn't get myself together. So he finally drugged me back. It was just like the worst experience in the world, like to hear somebody say, your son is dead. And it was just like, wow, I can't believe this shit, And so at that time, I'm talking to detectives. They asked me, who was this person? Who was that person? Where were they going? I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. It's like these young people nowadays, they don't like to tell you nothing. They so secretive. It's a code, so talking to them and everything, calling my family up and everything. And they're asking like, the fourth person was in the car. And I'm like, no, what fourth person? I don't know nothing about anything. I don't know where he was. So at that time, chest started hurting. I literally fainted out there. They had to put me in an ambulance. It's like the experience that I went through. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, And I feel like the people that do this to other families.
What made them? I'm sorry. As you say different stuff, different questions come to. What made them think that it was a fourth person?
Because they said that they know they didn't shoot each other.
Okay. Oh, so I'm thinking. So were they thinking that the fourth person was with them though, or
they're thinking that he or she was with. That's what they're thinking because they're like they didn't shoot each other because everybody was shot
right.
in the head, right. So they know they didn't shoot each other or whatever. So they asking, do we know who the fourth person was? So we're like, no, we don't know who the fourth person was or anything. So I guess they went back and started looking at the videos and saw my son, play fighting with some dude early that day. They put him in question several times, and they're saying that they think he was the fourth person, but they can't prove it because he was cool with my son. Then they started telling me, well, we think the car dropped out of thin air because we can't see them on one camera. And my thing is, if y'all give tickets out to people going through these red lights, how y'all can catch this car and see where this car was coming from? And let my kid would have been a police officer, let me would have been an officer, let my family would have been higher power judges or somebody, they would have found out instantly and arrested somebody. But for three dead bodies to be in this alley, and then a lady to live in the house, she said, I had been calling the police since last night, telling them it was a car blocking my garage, and I needed to get in my garage. So what did y'all do when y'all came out? She said they put a ticket on the car. Supposedly the ticket never got put on the car, is what they telling me. They said, no, we never put a ticket. She said, yes, they did put a ticket on the car, and they kept going.
How so did they put a ticket on the car and there's people inside?
They never looked inside the car. They never looked inside the car. If they would have looked in there, because from my understanding, one of them was alive. I don't want to say it the wrong way. One of them was alive for hours. So I feel like they didn't do their job. They felt like, okay, it's abandoned the car, put a ticket on there, it's snowing. We don't feel like getting out doing our job. So supposedly the ticket disappeared. We don't know what happened to it, but the lady that lived in the house said it was a ticket put on the car, and she kept calling back like, "Y'all just put a ticket on the car. I need to get my car at the garage. I got to go to work." So this was her going off, but they said no ticket was there.
So is she the one that found the individuals? Is she the one that found and
He
called the
eventually
police?
called the police again, and that's when they came out and discovered them.
Okay.
She discovered them, and it's just like a lot of weird stuff with the whole case. Like I was explaining on my little TikTok, they had no report of my son being murdered. I went down to 35th to get the report, for the police. I mean, for the insurance policy. They have no report on him being murdered. They have a report on the other two, not him.
Okay, what's the excuse or reasoning or what? What do they have
I
to say?
called the detectives the next day. And asked him. I said, "Why don't you have a report on my son?" And he was just like, "Oh, he's under a special number." And I'm just like, "What do you mean a special number?" He said, "Certain individuals have special numbers." And he's just one of those individuals. He said, "But I can give you a number if you need it." I said, "I don't need you to give it to me. I need you to explain to me why my son doesn't have a number, but the other two individuals do." "Oh, I can give you the number." Never mind. The lady I talked to on 35th, she said, "Listen, I'm going to make a number up for you so y'all can do y'all thing with y'all insurance policy." She said, "Because we have nothing." Then I was told another year later, down the line, a year or so later, by another police officer that I know that was looking into it to see what he's seen. He said, "Ain't nothing in the system at all on him." He said, "You sure there's nothing else going on?" I don't know. I don't know. All I know is what they tell me.
Wow, I don't even know what that means. Like I don't.
That's what I'm saying. And my thing is like, y'all not doing y'all Chicago police is not doing their job, because why wouldn't he have a number? My thing is also, y'all telling me y'all got so much evidence on certain individuals, and then he said, "Well, we can't arrest them." He said, "Because we'll lose the case, and they'll be able to come up to you and say, 'Hey, I killed your kid,' and nothing you could do about it." But let me would have been somebody of higher power. They would have arrested the man, whoever it was. They saying they won't tell me who it is, but they would have arrested somebody.
Wow. So still to this day, open case. And did you know the other two individuals?
I did. I had been knowing the one in the back seat since he was in about third grade.
Wow.
He grew up with my kids, about three of my boys, and the one in the trunk. Stormy went to high school with him. They were thick as thieves. They were cool, they wasn't no, what they call them, YNs. They were just normal young boys, like to smoke little weed, how they do their little stuff. But they wasn't out here like ski masking it up and all of this stuff. So, and then like with the funeral, when we had the funerals and everything, it was so many people that came out of support. And I'm just looking like, if they got this much love, they wasn't no terrible people. They wasn't. Y'all could solve this case. Somebody can come forth and say something. I even seen some little guys in the neighborhood where they saying that they last phone pinged that. I gave them some flyers. The little nigga, I ain't gonna say nigga, take that. I'll take
No,
that back.
no, go
The
ahead.
little
No,
guy, he took it and he threw it. He was like, "We ain't no snitches." And I was just like, "Wow, okay. So if this was one of y'all relatives, we're gonna ride back down on the people that did it for us." I said, "Okay, cool. I see where y'all head at." Nowadays it's just like they don't care about nothing no more. They don't care about anything anymore.
yeah,
They
yeah.
took the little
So
flyer and they tossed it right back at us.
so tell me about Stormy. Tell me what type of kid Stormy was and everything.
He
Tell me about Stormy.
he was, let me
Stormy
see.
is your oldest. He was your
He was
oldest.
my firstborn. We
Okay.
grew up together.
Okay.
I had him at 16 years old. Well, yeah, I had him in the summer of my six. I was turning 17. I was between 16 and 17. But so he was a real happy kid. Any
Okay.
videos that I post online, that was his character. He was happy, silly, outgoing. He loved to dress. He loved to dress to the T. He loved helping others. People on my block, they would tell you at the time, like he would see us coming in the house with bags, come help us in the house with our groceries. If somebody called us said they can't get something fixed in their house, because he wanted to be a civil engineer.
Okay.
So he would go and help out. But he was a real, I have pictures of him helping my nieces with all their babies in bags at one time. Like he was a good kid. I mean, whatever his lifestyle was on the street, which I know it wasn't no devil, he was a good kid. He was, and I'm not saying that just because he was my child, but he was a good kid. Like, he was a normal 19-year-old. And I feel like for y'all to take these boys' life like that, and y'all can't give us no answers behind nothing, it's sad. And there's so many moms out here, family members that's going through the same thing right now. I talked to several individuals that's saying that they solved their own cases. One lady told me I have so much evidence right now. She said they don't even want to sit down and talk to me. Why not? Why don't y'all want to talk to her if she got evidence about who killed her kid? Give us some closure.
Wow.
They not giving nobody no closure like that. I feel like they look at them like, oh, that's just another little YN from the streets. He guilty for something. No, he has a name. He has family that love them and everything. You can't just throw him away like that. No.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I want to help some parents out though, some families out. I want to start. I'm starting in the process of starting this non-for-profit program where we're going to do some charities and maybe some fundraisers and help pay, for some private investigators and maybe some reward money that will lead to a conviction.
okay, do you got a name for your non-for-profit?
It's going to be the Stormy Project.
The Stormy Project? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I just heard you mention that you talked to some other moms and stuff like that. So is it just like moms that you know already, or have other people that like just from the community and stuff like that reached out, or you reached? What's going on with that?
The community, a lot of moms in the community. I have a handful of women that I know that's going through the same thing. It's basically, I could say about two parents I know that cases were solved because they probably was on camera or something. But I have a large amount of moms that contacted me on TikTok and telling me their kid's name, just like showing me that picture saying this is my child. I never got closure behind it. They're struggling. I got one parent saying, I can't, she said it's been 15 years. I can't even look at my son's picture. She said, I don't know who did this. And you don't know. You could be sitting right next to the person because they be the first one, from what I'm hearing, they be the first one on the scene, the first one that comes around and talk to you. You just never know. So it's like you guys are not even, and I feel like if it's not in the detective's face, the evidence, then they're not going to work hard to find out. So that's why I want to start this non-for-profit where we can possibly get private investigators involved and help them lead to some convictions.
Look, you know what? I obviously your situation is worse than what I'm getting ready to talk about
Mm.
because your child has been taken away. But I'm gonna tell you this too. This may be another branch you can branch off into a little later. I know mothers. Excuse me. I know mothers that's dealing with their children being incarcerated and
Mm-hmm.
like okay, for instance, I know somebody who child is incarcerated. He was incarcerated about like probably around the same age Stormy was, probably about 19, 18, 19,
Mm-hmm.
and has medical issues. And they not taking
Mm-hmm.
care of him from a medical standpoint. And it's like he ended up having like a stroke or something. Don't get me wrong,
Wow.
but he was end up in a coma and almost, died. And
Yeah.
the prison system wasn't giving her no answers. And it's like, who do you turn to even in a situation like that where, you
And
know,
they don't give you no answers. They don't, because you know what? They feel like they're over 18. Because I had my middle son, it affected him really bad. He went out, did something crazy, lost his scholarship, went to prison. During COVID, he suffers from asthma. And it's like I had to call 1,000,000,001 people like, hey, my son is in the hospital again down here. Y'all not taking care of him. They don't care, and they're not going to try to give them no answers because they feel like they're over 18. They're in here for something that they did. So who cares? They don't care. They care about collecting that check for them people being in jail. They don't care.
right. So that's
They
what I'm
don't
saying. That
care.
might be something that, because I know as mothers that's going through that, as
Yeah.
well as dealing with their young sons and possibly even young daughters in the prison system. And just like you
We
just
have to
said,
be a voice for our children, the ones that's in prison, the ones that's deceased. We have to be a voice for them because they're not trying to hear them in jail. They get them a counselor get them a couple of resources. They don't care. So we have to be a voice. My son was in fights down there in the county jail. He called me. He said, "Mama, this guy took my picture, spit in my face, and hit me." They got me in the wrong area. I called down there. I said, listen, if y'all don't move my son right now, I'm calling Channel 7 and Channel 9. Y'all going to be in a world of trouble. They got my son off that deck and called me back and said, hey, we don't know how he ended up over there. We just moved him. Because the thing is, they're not listening to them inmates if they're telling them my health or this is going on. They don't care. They just want to collect them checks they're collecting for them. I think I forget how much they get per inmate, but they getting that money. So they don't care. They don't care. So yes, that's good that somebody's out here fighting for them because they don't care. They don't care. It's just like, oh, it's another one, just another one locked up, stacking their money.
Yeah.
So that's good. Somebody's going to be a voice for them because they need it. I had a son incarcerated, so I know what it feels like. I have a niece currently locked up right now, and she's telling me that there's no resources, no nothing. Like there's nothing. So I'm going to need the information from the people that you're talking about as well to help her out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to link with them because it's sad the way they do our young Black ones out here. I'm telling you, I can't speak on the other, race, Hispanics, and I can't speak for them because I'm African American, but I can speak for my own people, and they do them wrong. They do. They do them wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I obviously, with me being a school teacher, I deal with our young Black boys every day,
Mm-hmm.
and man, it's just tough with our young Black boys.
It is tough.
Um,
It's tough. I've had, I'm in CPS as well. I had one individual, two little guys tell me, and I was like, when you die, somebody, I don't remember what the whole conversation was, and I was just like, you go to heaven. He was like, no, when you die, you just die. That's all to it. And I'm just like, wow, you guys ain't looking to meet Jesus one day. They was like, ain't no Jesus. They man is just completely different from how we were when we were kids.
yeah.
They don't believe in nothing. They don't fear nothing. And I'm just like, you don't want to live to see 30. They was like, man, my cousin didn't live to see 19. My cousin didn't live to see this age. They was just giving me examples. And I'm just like, wow. So they really don't feel like they have nothing to live for. And I feel like a lot of times they do start at the house, at home. They see what's going on in the house and they like, man, little Ray, he got a switch. I want me one too. I hear them bragging on it. Like they gotta have better examples for them in the households. They do nowadays.
It definitely starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
The late great Fred Sanford said, if you see an ugly kid and you follow him home, somebody ugly gonna open the door. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? But
Yep.
you get an ignorant, you get a kid who off the chain. In a lot of cases, you follow him home, and somebody
Yep.
like that gonna open the door.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to do better in our community. We and you remember we the same age. You remember
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods like the other people in the neighborhood looked out for you as well as discipline you
They
or
did.
whatever
Yep.
like that. And
It
that's
was a
why,
cold back then. It was a
yeah,
cold.
and that's why we showed the respect to to people's parents or and
Yes.
I was talking to some of my students the other day and I was just talking to them about disrespect and their language that they use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't feel that it was disrespectful to use bad language around adults as long as I'm not cursing at you. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So long as I'm not cursing you out, it's okay to use that type of language.
I should be
And
able to say it right.
yeah, and I was telling them,
Okay.
I say, man, when we grew up, yeah, we cursed and we did all that. I say, but when we saw an adult, whether we knew you or not, or whatever like that, just because you were an adult, we paid you that respect.
Back. Yep. And they
You
were
know?
allowed to check us and tell us,
Yes,
hey, go on back, go in the house.
yes,
And then I remember growing up and the younger, like my brother them, if they called a little young guy ditching school, hey, go to
yes, sir.
school, go in the house. They
Yep,
weren't allowed to hang
yep,
out on the corners.
yep,
Go in the crib, go do some work. Hey, carry Miss Susie's bags in the house, help her
yep,
out. They don't have that no more.
yep.
They don't have it no more. It's just like they infatuated with these guns and just like these. And I don't know if it's the videos or not. I can't speak on that, but they infatuated with guns nowadays.
Most definitely.
I've heard so many. Oh yeah, I bought my boyfriend a gun for his birthday. What? what happened to man the new Jordans or something? Like, what are you talking about? Like, the stuff I be hearing is just wild for real. It's wild.
So
It's wild.
you're in high school, right?
Elementary.
You elementary. So
Hmm.
don't tell me you hearing that type of stuff in elementary.
Oh yeah, seventh, eighth graders. Oh yes.
Uh, and see, the school that I'm currently at is not I say like a game banking type of school or
Hmm.
a real street type of school. It's just kids just do crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's more of that than it is because I know like my brothers and at grammar school and his school is more gang affiliated and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Mine is not, but mine they just do crazy stuff. It's just like,
Yeah, for attention.
yeah, like
Say
what?
I did it. Yep, I did that. I did this, and then it's like a lot of them when they going out and killing and stuff. They coming right back online social media. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
I just seen one. I think the little guy that just got killed like on Halsted or something. It was like the comment. If you read the comment, he was like, "Yeah, job done, well done by me," and I'm just like, he got right online and just like incriminated himself. And people's like, you got an IP address, they're gonna come for you. Like, I'm telling you, they not thinking they it's something going on now for real. It's something, and I'm not gonna fault the parents. I'm just feel like it's something starting at home. I'm not gonna ever fault the parents because I had a kid murdered. And I know I did everything I could do in my power to keep my kids safe, all of them. But it's starting from somewhere, and I just would love to see it end. Like real life, I would love to see it end.
I just think I personally think just the morals and values and stuff like that of our communities are gone.
Yeah.
Even if you look at like I don't know about you, I grew up in church. You know what I'm saying? And even though I was, in the hood and did things or whatever, I had a
Hmm.
foundation from being raised, you know what I'm saying, in church and everything like that. Nowadays you go to churches, besides the mega churches, churches are empty.
Yep.
It's just I just think the morals and values of our communities are not the same as they were
It's
when
not.
we came up 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. It's not. It's like nowadays, it's like they're really being taught in the household, ain't no God.
Yeah.
Ain't no Santa Claus, ain't this and ain't that. Ain't you're not really giving kids nothing to look forward to. You telling them ain't no God. And I have nothing against nobody telling them ain't no Christmas, none of that. That's to each his own. But you really it's like a sad world they live in. So they're not looking forward to the future because everything is just freaking sad. You turn on everything, turn on the internet or the news, somebody dying. Like it's just everything that's being praised is killings is being praised right now for these young people. Killings, money, killings and money. He backdoored them for some money. That's what's all that's happening right now. You need to get some money. You got to backdoor this person for that. They not. It's just all messed up out here. It really is. It's really messed up out here. The way they thinking out here nowadays. And like you said, people don't put God first in these kids. Even though I'm a person that lost my faith when my son was murdered, because I couldn't understand why my kid. I never when I tell you never missed a PTA, never missed a field trip, an art show, or whatever. I was there for everything. And I was just like, dang, it doesn't pay to be a good mom because you still lose out on the end. But I lost my faith and I'm slowly gaining it back. Whatever. But it's just like, what will you tell the kids nowadays? Like, what is your advice to them to look forward to in the future?
What is my advice?
Yeah.
Um, my advice, not to sound corny or not to sound anything like that. I try to let these kids know that anything that they want, they can get it.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
any any place they want to be, they can get it because I think that's one of the biggest problems. I think I've had this argument a few times with people.
Hmm.
Um, when we get successful, we move out the hood, right?
Yeah.
But if every successful person moves out the hood, who do these kids have to look up to? Who do
True.
they have? What do they have? Who do they have, or what do they have to look up to let them know that you could be successful if everybody around you is struggling, or
True.
everybody around you is gang banging, or doing drugs, or selling drugs, or
So
drilling,
true.
or something like that. So
Hmm.
I try to paint a different picture to these kids and just let them know it's other things that's out here
Take
besides
a
us.
look for it
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
it's other things out here besides the things that you see.
Yeah.
I spend my time, like I had a young lady today, and we use the word crash out. These kids are crash out in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
And you'll be surprised if you sit them down and talk to them in a heated moment or whatever like that. They don't know how to self-regulate. They
No.
don't know how to conflict, how to resolve conflict. They don't know how to logical think in a lot of cases and stuff like that. So I
Yep.
I try to teach them how to do stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
let's look at the bigger picture in this situation. You know what I'm saying? You get
Hmm.
ready to fight your classmate or whatever the case may be, but then when you finally sit them down and they talk and figure out what the issue was,
When it's 101.
it was something petty.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
something silly. So
Yep. And
I just, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I moved my kids about 3 years ago. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, it's been about 3 years. This is their third school year. I moved them from CPS to a Catholic school.
Okay, that's a good
Now,
idea.
the Catholic school that they at, yeah, it's predominantly white. So you got to watch for what you got to watch for. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit up and say I've had problems, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
you know what you got to watch for.
Yeah.
But the things that they're exposed to is so much more.
Oh, I know.
My daughter just went on a ski trip.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They got volleyball, they got soccer, they got, you know what I'm saying? They got chess clubs. They got it's just so much more that they're exposed to. And a lot of our other kids, like the kids I work with and stuff like that, they're not
They're
exposed
not.
to this type of stuff.
So I don't know if you saw the video I put up some years ago, maybe about 2 years before Stormy passed. I took my kids skiing twice
Okay.
out there in Wisconsin. And their friends, they came up one day, was like, "Is it true you took Stormy and them skiing?" I say, "Yeah." They was like, "Ain't that white people stuff?" And I'm
Right.
like, "No." They was like, "We don't do stuff like that." And I think that's another thing. Like, I understand some parents can't financially do certain stuff, but you got a lot of free stuff out here you can do with these kids. Like my daughter, this is her first. She's in the she's not in CPS as well. But a lot of kids when they do meet her and talk to her, she act white.
Right. Or talk white. Yeah.
I don't
Like
care. It's
proper
like a
English. No, your baby is speaking with proper English.
right. But at the end of the day, she knows she's African American.
Right.
You know she is. So y'all can say what y'all want to say, but the thing is, and then I have a friend. Her nephew right now is being bullied because of that. Did you listen now? Her nephew is being bullied in one of these South suburb schools by black kids. Is telling them, "Oh, why do you act white? You act like them people. You need to do this," and trying to get him to engage in stuff that he shouldn't be engaging into.
Okay.
And he was starting to follow that role. He's only in like fourth grade because he didn't want to be teased anymore. So a lot of stuff is coming from peer pressure as well. They
Right.
feel like, okay, I don't want to be bullied no more, so I'm gonna do what they asking me to do. And they shouldn't have to go through that because they want a normal life. They shouldn't have to go through stuff like that, you know. And it's like I feel like a lot of them do that because they not getting something at home or they lacking in an area of love or something. So they feel like, all right, we're gonna drag him into this and get him to do it. Be him, let him be the flunky, let him go off and do the crime, and we're gonna sit back and act like we had nothing to do with it, you know. But they do that to my daughter all the time. Like she talk like she, you know, her proper self. She's this. Well, ain't nothing I can do about it.
You're right. You're giving her the best possible life and advantage.
That's all
Let
I'm
me
trying to do.
let me ask you a question. You just mentioned a minute ago about you losing your faith and everything. So what what was and is the grieving process? And what advice would you give to somebody else going through this or from a grieving mom's standpoint?
I would say get some help. I met a girl in the airport yesterday, and she was saying when she get back here to Chicago, she has to go to Cook County Hospital and view her mom's body. And then I was like, well, "How old's your mom?" She's like 52. I said, "What happened?" She said, "My brother was murdered." Then she said, "November." She said he was killed on King Drive by another nationality, not African American. And the man is still walking the streets. They didn't even arrest him. And her mother just died from heartbreak yesterday. She said my mom stopped eating and told me she can't deal with this. She couldn't deal with this anymore. And they've been begging her, trying to get her to eat, and they said she just died from heartbreak yesterday. So I would suggest getting help ASAP, especially if you feel like you're sinking into a dark hole. My grandmother told me when she found that I was attempting to take my life, she said, I'm gonna tell you this. She said that dark hole, she said, you ain't in there yet. But the minute you get in that dark hole, you can't come back from it. She said, you're going to either take your life or you're going to die slowly. She said, get some help now. So I had to get some help
So
because
wait. You can't just slip that back. So
mhm.
so you attempted to, I mean,
Oh yeah,
attempted
like
or was a
twice.
thought or what? What?
The first time, like I stated in the video, the first time I had like maybe 4 or 5 Xanax in my hand, and I just remember sitting on the edge of the bed, and I was just like, I'm about to just take these pills, and I was like, and I told my boys, I said, hey, if y'all find me and I'm gone, I said, just know it's not because I love y'all brother more. I said, it's because I can't take this pain. I said, this is some pain that I cannot describe and it hurts badly. I just want to be out of pain. And I had the pills, but it was just like, I think they sensed it because I was away from them too long and they came in the room. And it's like, one of them was like, well, if you go, I'm going with you. And then my youngest was like, well, you go, I'm going too. And I was just like, damn, I can't do this to my family. I'm not gonna take my life and they go behind me. They daddy gonna be lose his mind. My mom, my sisters, you know. So it was just like I was like, I gotta get some help, man. And then it was just another time, something in my head. And this is the second time. It was just more of the medication they had me on. So I want people to be just mindful of the medication they putting you on as well. The
This is
medication
like
they had me on.
depression medication or something?
Yeah, it was like it was the medication they had me on that triggers off suicide. So something was telling me in my head to shoot myself. And I was just thinking, I was like, no, I know I'm not ready to do that. Like, what's happening here, you know? So kind of found out it was the medication they put me on. So people just need to watch that as well. But yeah, the first time I was so deep in a depression, I ain't care about, and it's like I used to question why people do that, but some people don't know how they don't know how you feel, man. That shit is just, it hurts badly.
And you write about not knowing how somebody feels because obviously, during that time, obviously, um, I knew you were hurting, I knew you were whatever, but you kept a smile on your face around people. I guess
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time I saw you, you still, had a smile on your face or whatever like that. So yeah, why I know you grieving because you're a mother that just lost a child.
Hmm.
It
Yeah, but
it
it's just because
it
you don't want the other people to know. I wouldn't dare want you to know how I'm feeling. I
okay.
wouldn't dare want you to ever know how that feels because none of us shouldn't experience that unless it's like a natural cause. We supposed to our kids supposed to outlive us.
Yeah, he's supposed to bury you.
Right. Even though I don't want to be buried,
Oh,
but still they supposed to outlive us.
yeah.
There's no way this ratio of how many young people are being murdered out here. It's sad. I don't know the number. I plan on doing the research on it, but it's a high number of these young people being. I on both hands. I know moms personally in my circle of people in my lifetime that has lost a child, and it don't make no sense that we all got that in common. We should have other things in common, like yeah, we all went to the same school. We all got in common that we all lost the kids a bullet, and it's fucked up. It
It
really
is.
is.
It is.
Like, and it's just like to the little young guys that's out here that's doing a lot of this stuff. Y'all, y'all gotta understand, y'all not just hurting, y'all hurting the whole family, and this can hurt your family in the long haul. Because what if the people you're doing this to come back and do something to you? You think your mom and your family not gonna grieve like this? They not thinking about this.
Yeah.
They
Man.
not thinking about it. They just thinking about, oh, I got him. I caught his ass lacking. No, think about what could possibly happen after this. Like I'm telling you, I've heard some crazy. I even heard one man. I was in a meeting. This one man told me he just comes for support, but he told me he went back and got the guy that did his son. He said nobody knows,
Hmm.
and I didn't. I'm glad that he never told me his son name, no nothing, not nada. I was glad because I'm like I do not want to be a witness to this, but he told me he's like I got him. He said he apologized before I did it. And he told me he thought my son was somebody else. Mm-hmm.
Man, it's rough out here, man. And
Yep.
my heart goes out to y'all who has had to deal with that. I couldn't imagine. I don't man,
I
I don't,
wouldn't dare want you. I wouldn't dare want
you know.
any like my worst enemy. I wouldn't dare want them to feel it when I tell you it's a. And then like the boy in the back seat, his mom lost another kid 2 years after. And I want to say the guy that did it got jealous because he was dating his old girlfriend, and they don't even have him. And I remember her breaking out. She was like, "I'm just losing all my babies. I'm losing all my babies." And I was just like, I felt so bad for her, and I was just like, and then the one in the trunk, he was the only child. It's just like y'all, they hurting a lot of families out here for real. Mental health is at the highest right now because it's like everybody depressed, and it's a sad world we living in, man, right now for real. So what
So
else?
how has, yeah, I know you mentioned about losing your faith and everything like that. How what's going on now? Like, have you uh regained your trust in God? If you have, how has that happened? How do
Mm.
you think that plays a part in the grieving process? So just talk a little bit about that.
Um. Okay, so no, I haven't fully gained it back in this one God that I was raised to believe in. I have not. I don't believe that there is this one man up there that's telling this. I do believe that there's something there. I just don't know what. I just be trying to put things together and try to figure out, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's. I just don't. I don't know what's up there, but I don't believe it's this one God that we were all raised to believe in. But I do believe my mom, she would tell me best. She'd say, "Listen, we just here momentarily. We don't know when it's our time to go. Everybody got a number. If
And
your generation,
you recently lost your mom too.
yeah, it made 2 years, February
Yeah,
16th. Yep. I lost, and me and her lost our firstborn 6 months, 4 months apart. My sister was dying and didn't tell us that she was dying when my son was murdered. She told us that she was getting some help on her leg or something, and she wound up dying as well from cancer. But my mom said we're all here on borrowed time, and she said you never know when it's your time. She said you just got to live life on a straight line while you're here. And she said, live life on a straight line, take care of your health, your family, love on each other. She said, there's a place for you up there. You just don't know what it is. And I just don't, like I said, I don't believe in this whole white man that they're saying is up there. That's my only thing. I believe that there's something there. I just don't know what. So if that makes any sense, like it's like I think about the Holy Bible and how they say that all these men wrote the Bible, and I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of people's opinion. I don't believe in a lot of that either. I believe it's a lot of people's opinion, and like how we're sitting here doing this now. Something that you're saying, something I'm saying, they can take that and put that in the Bible in 100 years and say this was wrote by Sarah, Mother Sarah, her son Stormy was killed. I feel like that's how the Bible is going.
So when you were going through, and I don't want to turn this into no religion
Right.
conversation. I mean, we
Yeah.
can talk about that at a later time, but whatever. Um, who were you praying to then?
At the first day, I kept praying to God, like, please just don't let this be true. Don't let this be him. Please just bring him back. And when I I think I said like the first 2 days, I was like, damn, he ain't coming back. And I got so angry. I was like, what fucking God do we have up there that they've been telling us to pray to that could do something like this, that'll take my kid and take these boys like this? What kind of God? And that's what made me, hey, I'm gonna tell you, I went to a church. I can't think of the name of the church, 66 in Troy. This is what my son gave his life at. He was the only one that stood up, gave his life to God that Easter before he was killed. And I went to see them. I said, I need some help. I said, I'm losing my faith. They were praying over me. They were just like putting holy water on me. I snapped. I was like, fuck this shit. Fuck this. She started tossing the holy water at me because I was like, y'all not gonna tell me this man above is controlling this and my kid is dead in a fucking morgue. Like, y'all not gonna tell me this. And she was like, God don't take. He don't take. He don't. He don't take. He give you life. He don't take. So that's what I be having a hard time understanding. Like, me and my God, we have a conversation about that all the time because he's really heavy into the Bible. He knows a lot about it, and I'm just like, how is this one person controlling this? And my thing is, if he is, how is these babies out here dying like this? Not just my kid, innocent little 2, 3 year olds. I got a little cousin out in Mississippi. Her friends was doing TikTok, and her friend took the gun and put it on her head while she was on TikTok and blew her brains out. Her friend out. It's just like, who's controlling this world that this type of sad stuff is happening? Unless we're in hell already. So maybe I just haven't ran across the right pastor or somebody to talk to me, but I'm just still kind of lost on that. But like I said, I do feel like there's something there because my son communicates with me. And since he died, he communicates with me all the time. He comes in my dream all the time. If I pray for him, he comes, and I'm not bullshitting you. He about 2 months ago he came in. He got a whole beard, gold tee. He was smoking a black amount. I said, "What you doing smoking a black amount?" He said, "I don't do it all the time, Mama. Just sometimes." He said, "I was just checking to see what y'all been doing." This is how he talks to me. So I feel like it's something there. Just don't know what though.
How are your sons? How they doing? How your other sons
The
doing?
youngest, he goes through his moments. He does. He struggles. He does. He's doing good though, but he struggles. The middle one, he's doing good. He just, I guess he just look at it like it happened, it's done. He takes his moment, he grieve. He said he cried out, he keeps moving. But my youngest, he struggles with it because he just said, Mama, he said, I'm like you, I don't understand. I just don't understand why they did this to my brother. He was a good guy. So, some people, it's harder on some people than others. And like he lost his faith in it, and I never told him to lose his faith in it and the man above, but he said he lost his faith as well.
How is dad?
He doesn't talk about it a lot. He talked about him. The last time I talked to him, he was like he's been on my mind a lot. But even when it first happened, we took the kids on a trip like a week or two later just to get away, and we were on a plane. And I remember looking over at him. I was like, "You good?" He said, "Yeah," but he had the sunglasses on, but I could see the tears just rolling. He's never just. I guess he just do it in his own time when he wants to because he was a junior. So I guess he just deal with it the best way he can. But I left that 23-year relationship after that. It's just like it tore so many things, just tore a lot of stuff up, behind that. Yeah.
Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I can't wait. And I don't want to say that because it's unfortunate that it has to happen. But I can't wait till you get this non for profit off the ground.
Yep.
There's
That's
so
what I'm
many
focused
people
on
that
right now.
so many people that need that type of help, and like I say, it's unfortunate. So it's not. I wish we didn't even need that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like that's what I said. This is not a way that you want to bond with parents and moms
Right.
and stuff, but it's messed up that this is the way nowadays we have to bond with each other because we all lost a kid. Like, but I would love to help some people get a closure. I would love to get my own closure, but it don't look like it's gonna happen no time soon. But I pray it does, and I pray that we can help a lot of families.
What if this God that your faith is shaking with right now is using you for a vessel to reach other people and to help heal other people? You ain't even got to answer that. Just think about that. So
I was told
maybe,
this. I was told this. I was told that.
yeah.
And
So
that's why I said I do believe that there's something there. This could be my purpose.
yeah.
I feel like we all have a purpose, and that could be mine from this higher power there. This is what I was sent here to do. Because people feel like I handle it so well. You wouldn't be able to tell you've been through what you've been through. That's because I talk about it, I let it out. I pray. I just don't pray to I just sit down and do my own little prayers to myself and to the higher power who's there, who's listening. Help me. So I'm not saying I'll ever get that full faith back that I was raised in, church, but it's coming back. It's coming back. But I do want to help a lot of families. I would love to help a lot of families that I do because it's like some people could be doing worse than I am. Like with this, I struggle some days. Some days I go into anger And then I have to snap back, like, okay. This person didn't do nothing to me, so I can't be, But I'm eager. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to get this going. So
For sure.
let your people know, like if you know
Will
any
do.
parents,
Yeah.
family, so they can contact me. I got the page. Did you get the invite for the page link?
No, what? Only thing I got the video you sent me,
The
and I
TikTok.
think it was
Okay,
like
so
two.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yes.
just started a Facebook page, so they can go on that follow. And I want to say the link on there for the intake form is going to get like brief questions about them and their loved one and everything, the date it happened, so that we can kind of start from somewhere. We got a private investigator already in the loop, and he knows what his job is going to be when it's time. So we just got to get some charities going, some fundraisers going to get some of this money going, so that we can try to help some people out.
So anything that you want shared on there, just send it to me, and when I, when this come out, all of that stuff, what I'm saying, whatever you want on there, it'll be
Okay.
on there, so we can reach out to, to the people in need.
Okay. And then I just thought about this one guy real quick on TikTok that came in my inbox. He was a YN. He
Okay.
was like, man, I was just, and I went to his page. That's how I know he was a YN. I looked at his page. He was like a young guy. He
Okay.
was like, man, I just saw your video and it's so sad. He was like, I miss my mama. He was like, my mom don't talk because the life I live on the streets and she doesn't like the life I live. He's like, but I really miss my mama. My brother committed suicide and that took a real big thing on my mom. And I just miss her. He's like, she's not dead, but we just don't talk. And I said, talk to your mom. Your mom needs you. He said, yes, ma'am, thank you. And this was like 3 in the morning. So a lot of them need somebody to talk to as
That's
well.
right.
So for anybody out there, if you see some of them, just sit back, just pull them over to the side. You know how it go. Talk to them and just, be a listening ear. A lot of them got shit they need to get off their chest.
Right.
But
For
thanks
sure.
again.
For sure. All right, Sarah, and look, I'm gonna get you back too. We're gonna get back on here, especially as stuff is progressing, so we can just let people know what's going on. And I just thought of stuff. I know a couple people who have gone through similar situations or whatever like that. So we can get on here and we can have some
Let's get it.
conversations and stuff like that. So you will be back soon.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing your story. Um, it needs to get out there. People need to hear,
Yes.
and we be praying for closure for you and a break in the case where we can, get this solved and get some peace and whatever like
Yes.
that brought to your family.
Yes. 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 Thank you so much.
All right. Another
All right.
episode of Bring in the Business. Peace.
Bye.